All right, good afternoon. It's Mrs. New here. We are trying, I'm trying a new video technique here, so bear with me. Hopefully you're going to be able to see this well. Today we're talking about the stiff slab box project. So what that is basically a slab box that's made with a series of templates. So this is the container that the templates are in, and I want to talk about the different shapes that we have available for this project. So we have triangles, you can make a triangle box. We have trapezoids, we have good old squares, and we have rectangles. So all of these templates, most of them are this kind of bright orange color, and all of them have numbers on them, and that is the number of inches. So for instance, this is a 5 by 5 inch square, and you want to decide what kind of box that you want to make, so what shape. So let's say you wanted to make a triangle box. Triangle boxes usually are done one of two ways. So you would need this template here, and I wouldn't want to use a 5-inch square from the bottom. I would want to find a 6-inch square for my bottom. So I could make a triangle box by making one bottom and 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. I could also use a triangle for the bottom and do 3 sides with a triangle bottom. So there's different ways to do the triangle box. If I was going to do a regular cube, so if I wanted to do a 5 by 5 cube, I would need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of this shape to make a cube. 6 sides, right? A cube has 6 sides. If I wanted to do the trapezoid box has a square bottom. So let's say I was going to do this one. I would need a 6 by 6 inch square for the bottom piece, and the top has a 4. So I would need a 4 by 4 inch square for the top piece. So before you even start rolling out your clay or anything like that, I want you to just look at the templates that I have and figure out, you know, what kind of box you're going to make. I'm looking for my 4 by 4 inch square here. I've got a lot of ones in here. Here we go. So that way, here we go. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, the top and the bottom. I want you to look through the templates and figure out, you know, what size box you're making and find all of the shapes that you need to make that box. So I'm going to go ahead and keep these ones for my trapezoid box. Also, when you're putting away these, make sure that you're putting them in the right bag. So if this is my square, I'm going to put it back with the squares. I decided not to do the triangle one, so I'm going to put that back too. If you have questions about using the measured templates, please ask me, and I'd be happy to brainstorm with you, you know, what kind of size and style box that you're going to do. But let's say I'm going to do this one. So I have all the templates that I need. I know that I need to cut 4 of these out, 1 of these out, and 1 of these out. So the next thing to do is prepare my slab. So I've already went ahead and done that. So here is the slab that I am working with. I'll make sure my video is still going. Yes, it is. Okay. And what I want to do is put this through the slab roller, make it nice and even. And now I'm going to take my rib tool and really smooth this out. So I call this combing the clay, making sure there's no air bubbles, kind of smoothing it out. So I'm just using the side. In fact, I kind of like using this flat side. My rib is clean. I went ahead and washed it to make sure it's got no dried clay, so I'm not polluting my nice slab here. That bell is on the video. I apologize. It's the end of lunch here as I'm making this video. So I'm going to smooth this out really nice, and now I'm going to add my texture mats. So you guys know there's all different texture mats. This is a new one, so I'm going to try that. I could put it right in the middle, but I think I'm going to do it twice. So I'm going to lay it on here. I'm going to grab a rolling pin, and I'm going to give it a good press into the clay. Now here's what you need to know. Write this down on your notes if you need to. You need to put the texture mats on before you cut out the shapes, because when you don't want to cut out the shape and then roll on a texture mat, because as you can see, the clay underneath moves a little bit. So that would mess up the shape that I'm trying to make with these geometric shapes. So there's my texture mat. It's looking pretty good. There's one part here that didn't do great, but we're going to use the best parts. Okay, so now I know that I need 4 of these, okay? So here's the thing. I'd call it grandma's cookie rule. So you want to make sure you're using like all of your slab. You wouldn't want to cut one piece out of the center and then waste all this, right? So when I was making cookies with my grandma when I was little, she would always teach us, you know, use as much of the dough to cut out your cookies as you can. So kind of plan this out, like what's the most I can get out of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with my trapezoid shape. And I've got to grab a needle tool. And here's my other tip for you, as well as Grandma's cookie rule, is you measure twice and cut once. So I'm not going hacking into this slab yet. I'm just gonna draw the shape on the best I can using the template that's here. Some of them are a little wrinkled on the sides. So again, I want to use all that clay. So I'm actually going to flip it over, put it pretty close to that edge. I'm going to leave about a 1/4 inch in between just to give it a little room so I can cut it. But I'm going to go ahead and cut that shape out. Now, can I fit anything else on here? Can I fit the bottom piece? It's a little small. I think that might be all I can get out of this one, darn it. So I'll definitely need more clay for this project because this box is going to be pretty big. All right, so now I want to talk about fettling knife. Notice I washed this one. It's really nice and clean. I'm going to hold the knife at the blade, and I'm going to hold it at a 45-degree angle. So it's not straight up and down. It's not too much to the side, but somewhere kind of in the middle of that. And I don't hold it like this, okay? I'm holding it at the blade so I can get more control. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure the center of my blade is always facing the middle of my shape. And I'm going to cut these at an angle. I'm going to follow the line that I did with my needle tool as best that I can. I'm trying to keep the angle, keep it kind of straight. So I did in, okay, the middle of my shape is the tip of my blade, goes in towards the middle of my shape. I'm going to do it this way. It's a little hard, but try to do the best you can. Now, as you guys knew with the last project we did, you figuring out that, you know, cutting these things at angles, especially when you're constructing with slabs, is going to save you some headache later when you start to put these together. So let me show you what that looks like, okay? So as you can see, I have this beveled edge all the way around, and that's really going to help me when I go to put the edges together and slip and score the slab box. Now, I would not do that now because this is really soft. And the whole, you know, title of this project is the stiff slab box. So I'm going to wait for that to get leather hard. So what I've done is I've prepared a board, and I'm just going to go ahead and start keeping my clay as flat as possible on this board. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. This is going to be my second piece, right? So the tip of the blade goes towards the inside of the shape. And again, if you're messed up, just go, okay, am I doing this right? Nope, that's backwards. Okay, tip of the blade towards the inside of the shape. And try to follow your lines the best you can. If you get a little messed up, then, you know, we can adjust that, and you can fix a little bit with like some coils and stuff when you start to slip and score this together. But the more accurate you can be with these cuts, the happier you're going to be later when you start assembling, because you're going to have less messing around to do. They're going to just click together really nice and easily. That is beautiful. My corner's a little messed up, but I've got my beveled edge, okay? So let's say I am at a room. Now this one I would just put here, but let's say I'm at a room. I can layer these on my board, but I would suggest putting a dry paper towel in between. So I can go ahead and stack that on top. Try to make sure it's not like flopping off the edge, right? Try to make sure it's nice and straight on there and flat. You want to keep this as flat as possible. So I wasn't able to get anything else out of that slab. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the other slab that I prepared. I'm going to move those over. And again, this slab, that's Bella's on the video, I apologize. This slab is the same thickness as the other one. I'm going to go ahead and do my texture mat that I chose for this project. And I still have quite a bit to cut out. So I cut out, what, 2 sides of my box, and I know that I need 4 sides, and I need a top and a bottom. So I've got a lot more cutting to do. So you can see, if you choose to make a smaller box, it's going to go a little bit faster, okay? Now that being said, some of my templates are like, let's see if I show you one. I mean, some of them are teeny tiny, like this 2-inch square. I mean, that wouldn't be a very exciting that wouldn't be big enough for this project. So, you know, do a medium-sized one. This is ceramics 2, so you want to, like, you know, do something cool that you're going to keep. All right, so on this slab, I want to get 2 more sides, but let's just kind of do a square just so I can show you a square. Okay, so this is going to be the bottom of my box. And again, I'm just going to draw it as best I can here. And this template's kind of raggedy around the edges, I'm not going to lie. So I'm doing the best I can. Draw it on there first, make sure that's right. And then do my angle, okay, and I'm going to bevel cut all my pieces. Now here's the thing. You want to cut all your pieces out on the same day, on the same class period. The reason for that is what we call in ceramics land stages of dryness. I want to have all my pieces be exactly the same stage of dryness when they're leather hard. I'm going to go ahead and get another side while I'm talking. So I'm going to put these on a board today with no wet paper towel, but I am going to put them in a bag. And I'm going to wait to assemble this until the next class period. I am not going to assemble this today. The clay is too wet, but if I put it on a board and in a bag and I cut all my pieces today and get it all ready, then it's going to be perfect to assemble. The stage of dryness is going to be just about right. Okay, so I'm trying to carefully do my beveling here, get all my pieces. Now, let's say you have all this extra and you're like, Miss New, I can't fit another one right here. Grandma's cookie rule, it's not really working. All this extra stuff, I'm just gonna re-wedge all this into a big ball, and I'll show you that in a minute. I'm not gonna waste all this scrap. I'm gonna reuse it for the rest of my sides. So let me grab my board again. Okay, so I've got two pieces. Here, I'm gonna actually backtrack that a little bit. So I've got 1, 2, 3 sides. And keep track of this. Like, ask yourself, okay, what do I have all the pieces? Like, what do I need? What am I doing? I'm gonna layer this. So I'm putting a dry paper towel. You can just put another piece of dry paper towel. And again, try not to have it sagging off the edge if you can help it. Try to keep it nice and flat, okay? So this is gonna go, pretend I have all my pieces cut out. I'm gonna slide this whole thing into a bag, no wet paper towel. I am gonna kind of seal the bag under, and this is ready for me next class period to assemble. And if I still need more sides like I do, I'm gonna take all my scraps and I'm gonna wedge. So I'm gonna get all these pieces together and I'm just gonna start to push them in. I use this part of my hands. They call this the ram's head. I'm not sure why, but I guess it looks kind of like 2 ears of a ram. I'm not really sure. I never quite understood that when I was learning about pottery, but that's what they call it. So I'm gonna turn it different ways. I'm gonna push that. And what that's doing is aligning all those particles of the clay, the little molecules of water. It's getting all the air bubbles out, right? And so hand wedging can be a really quick way because I still need more pieces. So now I can go ahead and flatten this out. I can use my rolling pin to start to flatten this and run it through the slab roller and, you know, do my couple more pieces that I need to do to make my box today. So that is the first demo. So don't forget to do your texture mat before cutting out your pieces. Figure out what kind of box you want to make. Find all the templates that you need. Make sure to, you know, draw it on there first and then use your knife to do your angles. Smooth it out with the rube tool, get rid of all those air pockets, okay? And then it goes on a board and slide into a bag for next time, and I will show you on the next video how to start assembling. Okay, thanks guys, have a good day, bye.